Live. We are live. Woohoo! Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Tea. I'm Tamar Israel. I will be your host today. And today, people, we have an amazing surprise. My wonderful friend, Emily Tullock, is here. She is an environmentalist, an environmental activist and an environmentalist. She is an actor, writer, I'm not even done yet. Actor, writer, wrestler. That's cool as F. I'm trying to work on not swearing as much. She's also a reporter. She is a sound technician. She does editing. She does so much just in her life. And she also contributes parts of her life to make our planet a better, more sustainable place. So we're going to learn how to do that from her today and little things that we could all do to become better humans on this big old rock, the only one that we got. So everyone, please welcome Emily Tullock.
You made me sound so much more interesting than I ever think that I am. So thank you for that. I appreciate that very much.
You're welcome. You're very interesting.
Oh, thank you. I hope people don't expect me to start like pulling out wrestling moves because I haven't done that in a long time.
That'd be fun if you just like suplex your cat or something.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Sometimes cats need it.
Sometimes they need to be put in their place.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. So, like I said, Tully is here to talk to us. Well, first of all, I call her Tully because we did a lot of theater together, and that's like her theater name. So, do you prefer Emily or Tully?
No, call me Tully. Absolutely. I love that nickname. It reminds me of our old theater days back when we were able to do theater.
Oh, theater nerds unite.
Yes.
I don't know what that. Anyway, so Tully is here to talk to us about the environment. But before we get into that, this is Coffee with Tea, so we got to talk about coffee. So Tully, how do you take your coffee?
I take my coffee with soy milk.
It's soy milk.
Yeah. So or oat milk. And it's usually like vanilla flavored. Yeah. So I do non-dairy. That's all. Just a little splash of creamer, and that's it. Sometimes ice, sometimes hot.
Do you do like crazy flavors? Well, not crazy, but like caramel.
Yeah, I love oat milk. They have like oat milk snickerdoodle during like the fall time and the winter.
What?
Time. I forget what brand it is. They do that. They do like a peppermint mocha, like coconut milk flavor. So I do experiment. Like my go-to is just regular vanilla soy milk, but sometimes I get crazy with my flavors. Yeah.
Look at you. That's cool as fuck. I mean, damn, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. Already.
No, you do you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So my first question for you is, so since you're talking about coffee, I hear this phrase all the time, free trade coffee, make sure that you buy free trade coffee. I don't exactly know what that is. So could you explain to us what free trade coffee is?
So are you talking fair trade?
That's the one, fair trade.
Okay. Just making sure. Yeah. So Fair Trade USA, it's a nonprofit organization that certifies products like coffee to make sure they're being made according to a set of strict standards that encourage environmental sustainability, and also that they're being ethically sourced in terms of like making sure that the farmers that are actually doing all the work are being fairly compensated, and also that they're able to have enough money that they can grow their beans in without like using pesticides and without doing anything bad to the environment. So when you can find a coffee that is fair trade certified, you can pretty much guarantee like, okay, like I can make sure I'm getting these beans and enjoying them, and they're being ethically and environmentally sourced. That's what that little badge means on there.
Yeah, so I'm gonna look for the badge now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know. I go to Cape Cod Coffee a lot because it's up the road from me, and they have their little fair trade coffee badge on there, and they also have I forget, it's like rainforest something or other. There's another one out there too that they have on there. So like I really enjoy supporting them because I know like they're really putting in the effort to make sure their beans are coming from a good place.
Nice. Yeah. And coffee is life. So yeah, that's important.
Coffee is life, and it can be really devastating to the environment to produce coffee beans. So when you're supporting a company that puts in the extra effort, it's a good thing, you know.
Nice.
Yeah.
So before we like jump into the environment, I have a question for you. What when did the environment become important to you and why?
I would say it's always been important to me. Growing up, my mom was really conscious of recycling and composting. And I kind of just did it like kind of without thinking like, oh, this is just how our house is. Like I make sure to recycle. I make sure to throw the food in the compost and all that. But I didn't really care too much about it. And I would say probably 3 years ago, I was taking a course for my bachelor's degree. It was environmental studies. And it just kind of opened my eyes because we were learning about the environment and ecosystems and how horrible climate change is and how we're causing climate change. So that's when I really started becoming conscious of my actions. And it wasn't until probably, I think it was last July that I really started to devote all of my effort, all of my free time to researching ways that me personally, I can start making this world a better place.
Oh man, that's cool as hell.
Yeah.
Wow. So it started like really early for you, like your mom being really conscious about recycling and composting, like that just kind of followed you throughout your adulthood.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I kind of never really thought about it too much. I was just like, okay, it's kind of gross that we're like throwing this food into a pile, but like I'll do it because you told me to.
Whatever.
Yeah, but it wasn't until a few years ago that I personally made the decision that this is something that's important to me and I'm going to start doing it.
Nice. So we all know that climate change is real. I would hope that we all would know that. Let's start there, that climate change is real.
Hope.
So let's say I woke up out of a coma from like, I don't know, 50 years ago. And maybe I hit my head when I was like 7. So now I'm like 57. And I'm coming out of a coma and I'm just like, whoa, what's climate change? How would you explain to me what climate change is and like how it would affect me? Like, what would that sound like?
So I have a really great, actually, I have a quote from NASA. I wanted to make sure people knew that I was coming from like a very smart place and I wasn't going to get this wrong. So I made sure my definition of climate change comes from NASA. And I would hope everybody trusts and believes for NASA to know what they're talking about. So NASA describes climate change as a change in the average conditions, such as temperature and rainfall, in a region over a period of time. So basically, human activity over these many years have increased greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, leading to more retention and an increase in surface temperatures. So we are getting hotter, we are retaining more heat in the earth, and as a result, our temperatures are rising. We are having crazy weather patterns that we've never seen before. We're seeing, Antarctica is losing like all of their ice caps. They're melting essentially. So basically, that is the very basic definition of climate change, and it can get way more complicated. But at the very surface level, it is these human activities that we are overdoing that are trapping heat, and we're warming up. We're warming up.
Warming up, getting hot.
We are warming up, yes.
Yeah. So would you contribute the fires in California that we're seeing right now to climate change, or, just please stop doing gender reveals?
I mean, definitely both. Again, I mean, a lot, also because like California and so many states are seeing droughts. And I think we were in a drought on Cape Cod recently too. And I hadn't even been aware, but yeah, it has barely rained here in a while. So that these weather patterns from climate change are absolutely contributing to the droughts that are then, helping the wildfires spread. Also, yes, human activity. We really need to up in our game. First of all, stop doing gender reveal parties. That's just weird and crazy to me. Like, who cares what your gender of your baby is? Just love it. And yeah, stop starting fires, especially in places like California that are very dry and very prone to wildfires.
Yeah.
I
think it got so out of control. It's still burning, right?
Yes, it's awful. And it's like wafting over this way too. It's devastating. It's awful. And it's awful, especially because like you want to do something to help, but like I'm not a firefighter. I can't go over there. And I also live all the way across the country and I can't even get over there safely because we're in a pandemic. So it sucks.
Yeah. Speaking of doing something to help, let's say I want to, I'm like beginner environmentalist and I want to learn how to be like a better human to the earth. Also, I don't want to really inconvenience my life. So what would that look like? Like, what could the everyday person do to be a better human to the planet without extreme inconvenience?
So I think for me, what's important when I'm talking about the environment is really making sure that people are finding ways that fit within their lives, within their morals, their values, their budget, and their interests as well. So that it doesn't seem like, oh my God, I have to do this to be environmentally friendly. This is awful. So I think it's really all about finding what you can do within your budget, within your life to make the environment better. So whether that's I have the money to install solar panels on my house, like, so I can produce, more economically friendly, like, sorry, I got distracted.
Sure.
If you want to do solar panels, or if you want to get like a hybrid car so that your car isn't producing as many fossil fuels, like that's great. But for me personally, what I choose to focus on is a low waste / zero waste lifestyle where I'm producing as little trash as possible, because the average American produces 4.4 pounds of trash a day.
What?
Day. Can you believe that? But think about it. We are an environment that is so heavily focused on convenience items, single-use items. You got the coffee cups, you got the disposable plastic silverware, you got like the vegetables wrapped in plastic. Think about that. So all of the stuff, and we're a consumer economy where we're always consuming. So we're always accumulating trash and we're throwing it away, and it's baffling. So that's personally what I do. So I had some statistics, but I can't. I have notes. Sorry.
You said 4.4 pounds a day, so
yeah,
like almost 25 pounds a week,
according to the
trash.
EPA. Yeah, an average American. I'm not sure what they're doing in other countries and other parts of the world, but yeah, so all of this trash obviously is going to landfills, and landfills are responsible for 20% of our methane emissions, which is a greenhouse gas, which is contributing to climate change. So we're throwing away a lot of trash. We're producing a lot of methane gas. So, and all the toxic materials that are being thrown away, like batteries, cleaning products, those can leach into our soils. And when it rains, it can create a runoff. It can get into our drinking water. It can get into our oceans and kill aquatic life. So that's kind of where the low waste, zero waste lifestyle sort of comes in, of people trying to produce as little trash as possible. So what I do is I try to be as sustainable as possible and not buy things that I don't need. So what I do is when I go to the grocery store, I bring my reusable bags, and I also bring my produce bags. These are my little produce bags. Instead of getting one of those plastic bags to put your fruit and vegetables in. First of all, people don't need to buy the fruits and stuff that are cut up and put into plastic containers. First of all, it's cheaper to buy your own, like kiwis and strawberries, and cut them up yourself. And also it's better, less trash. So that's one way. If you're going grocery shopping, bring your own bags, bring your own produce bags, and try to buy as little plastic as possible. Try to buy things in glass containers, because that's way more recyclable than getting it in a plastic, because that's not recyclable, despite what people think. So that's one way. Other ways that I try to produce less trash is I have a bamboo toothbrush. Nice. As I was telling you before we were recording, every single plastic toothbrush ever created is still on the planet, whether it's in a landfill, it's buried in somebody's backyard. Plastic doesn't break down, period.
Oh my God.
It breaks down into microplastics, which then leach into the soil, which then kill our aquatic life, which then gets into our drinking water, and we're drinking microplastics. So one of the best low waste lifestyles that I can think everybody can do is to buy a bamboo toothbrush. You can go onto Amazon if you'd like, or you can go, I think they might be selling them in the grocery stores right now. Mm-hmm. Buy a bamboo toothbrush because these are made with sustainable materials of bamboo. Mm-hmm. And they're honestly not even, I don't think, any different in price either, I'm sure. So bamboo toothbrush, because plastic toothbrushes are very bad for the environment. I also make my own tooth powder instead of toothpaste tubes, because the same thing with toothpaste is those tubes sit in the landfills.
No.
They're awful. It's plastic. When you think about it, it's all different forms of plastic. So I have a honey jar that I reused, and I make my own tooth powder out of baking soda, bentonite clay, and bentonite clay. What's the third ingredient? Oh, xylitol, which is an artificial sugar that's actually good for your teeth, according to scientists. So those are two ways, even in a bathroom, that you can just cut down your trash, because you're no longer buying plastic tubes of toothpaste. You're no longer buying toothbrushes that are coming in plastic packaging also. So those are some ways that you can cut down your trash.
Yeah, I want to go back to what you said before, because it's starting to land a little bit. You said with your words that every toothbrush that was ever made is still on the planet. It has never broken down. Every plastic toothbrush ever made.
No, because plastic it doesn't degrade on its own. And if it does degrade, it's just the plastic is shrinking into what they call microplastics. So it's just breaking down even further, but it's not disappearing. Those microscopic little microplastics are the ones that are getting into our drinking water everywhere. You can look that up. Everywhere has some amount of plastic in their drinking water, even bottled water. Yeah, it's crazy. When you start to really research this stuff, it's like, oh my God.
Terrifying.
It's terrifying. So those are a couple ways. Also, ways to sort of reduce your trash intake is to create your own cleaning products. So cleaning products are really bad for the environment, because again, those are chemicals that are those are getting on you. First of all, they're going to get on you eventually. They're getting into our water. Like if you're cleaning your toilet bowl with like bleach or something, that's then washing down and dispersing the chemicals.
Oh gosh.
So, and also, if you make your own cleaning products, it is very cheap. So all I use in this bottle is vinegar and water and sometimes lemon. And I clean my entire house with them. So not only am I saving money, but I have a one-stop shop for all of my chemicals. I no longer need to bring plastic bottles into the house, but I just clean everything with, and sometimes baking soda as well.
Right. And that keeps bugs away too, right? Like vinegar and...
yeah, they did like...
Yeah, like bugs on like vinegar or lemon or something like. I used to have ants, like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
I hate them so much.
They're awful. Yeah, for sure. So it helps keep those away as well. Another, great way to be better to the environment, and you're gonna hate me for this, is to cut down your meat.
No.
So let me recite to you some very startling statistics.
Okay.
Producing 1/4 pound of beef burger uses 425 gallons of water, which is enough to fill 10 bathtubs, right? Producing 1/4 pound of beef uses enough energy to power an iPhone for 6 months, and skipping one serving of beef every Monday for Meatless Monday for a year saves the equivalent emissions to driving 348 miles in a car. So let me tell you also, in addition to how much water it takes to produce burgers or, meat in general, livestock make up, how much is it? Livestock is really bad for the environment because they produce methane gas. So their burps and their farts and all that. Yeah, because there's so many cows, there's so much livestock, there's so many goats, sheep, all of them.
Oh, wow.
They're all burping and farting and honestly creating these huge clouds of methane gas, which is a greenhouse gas. So we really need to move, in addition to it being ethically better that we're killing less animals to eat, it's also going to be better for our environment if we rely less on meat and more on vegetables, even like vegan meats, like those are even a little bit better. So if you can just practice, I know you're a huge meat eater. If you just practice Meatless Mondays, just start with Meatless Mondays. I totally get it. People love their meat. Once a week, and then maybe in a couple months you do 2 times a week where you're not relying on that. Then you're really helping to cut down on your carbon footprint, and you can feel good about that. It's like, I'm not contributing to the livestock culture that's producing all this methane gas and using all of this water in addition. So
that I can feel better about. I can, you know what? I can do Meatless Mondays. I can go one day. I actually don't eat that as much meat as I used to. I used to eat, you know what? It doesn't matter. A lot. So I cut that down a little bit. I can do Meatless Mondays, and I can contribute to a better environment.
Yeah, that you can. And this is all stuff that's, I really try to emphasize, is within everybody's reach. You don't have to spend a lot of time or money thinking about this stuff. It's just small little habits that you can build over time that are really helping to reduce your carbon footprint. There's another really great simple thing you can do, and that's just composting. Composting, again, when you throw away food scraps, vegetable and fruits scraps in the trash, they're then going to a landfill, and the fruit is not able to decompose because there's no oxygen. So they're building up more methane gas. Whereas if you compost your food scraps in an aerated bin, like I have a garbage bin with a bunch of holes poked into it, and I put all my food scraps in there, and I put some dirt in there as well, that it breaks down naturally. So all of that is not impacting the environment. I'm just naturally getting rid of my food scraps, and then in like a year or so, it's going to be soil for my garden. So like, how cool is that? It's creating more sustainability too. I don't have to go out and buy soil. I don't have to go out and get chemicals to grow my garden, and I have it in my garbage bin,
Okay. Do you use, obviously you don't use a plastic one. Do you use like a metal one, or is there a specific garbage bin that you use?
So I have a counter garbage compost. It's about like this tall. It's a tin one. That's for our food scraps when we're cooking and stuff. And then we put it in there, and then we empty it. It is an old garbage bin that the previous owner of this house had left here. So it is just a big garbage bin. I guess it is made out of plastic, which is fine because we're not eating off of it or anything like that. That I literally just stabbed holes into, like repeatedly stabbed holes into, just to get the oxygen flow in there. And then the fruit flies and all the bugs out there have been eaten away at it. So it's not even building up right now. It's actually really cool.
Do you have to worry about like animals and raccoons and possums and all that?
We've never had an issue with that period with our compost. And we did an open compost pile for a while where it was just in the earth, sort of like in a hole or like in a pile outside. And then we eventually started putting it in the garbage bin. If you are composting properly, and you can also print out cheat sheets. I have this on my fridge, so everybody knows when they come over what they can and can't put in our compost. Super easy cheat sheets. It doesn't smell. A common misconception is it smells, but if you're composting properly, it does not smell. That's when you're composting improperly is when it smells. And also, we've never had an issue at this house or at our other house. We've never had an issue of the raccoons or fox or anything getting into it. Yeah.
So cool. you have like 2 composts, right? Like one inside that you like easily throw your stuff in, and then you take that one outside to the outside one and then put that stuff in there.
Yeah. Okay. I try to feed, like, because I have chickens too. I try to feed my chickens as much scraps as possible because they love them. And then I compost the rest. So I have a cat joining me, of course.
I'm not sure if you can hear my cats at my door, like just scratching, like, what the hell?
Yeah. Hello, and I try not to lock mine out because that's when it gets loud.
Right?
Yeah. So a couple things real quick that you can do. Oh my God, he's like pressing on my keyboard. I'm so sorry. Is rely less on paper towels. Instead of paper towels, I haven't bought paper towels except for emergency use when my cat throws up. I haven't bought paper towels in almost 2 years. I use these just regular dish towels, and I mop up all of my messes with that because paper towels are really bad for the environment because their trees are being cut down.
Oh yeah.
Single-use disposable item that I'm going to use one time and that's it. So instead, I invested in some thrifted dish towels. I wipe up all of my messes with that. Okay. I got a bidet for my toilet because you cut down on toilet paper.
Oh, you're so fancy.
I know. Well, it was only $30. It wasn't like super expensive at all. Just very, very frugal. What I want to emphasize with this low waste lifestyle too is how much money you're going to save. Like I don't buy single use items anymore that I'm going to use one time and throw away. So like everything that I have has a purpose here and it can be reused over and over again. So not only is it good for the environment, it's good for my pockets as well. So if anybody is ever interested in getting into a low waste, zero waste lifestyle, I have this book, 101 Ways to Go Zero Waste by Catherine Kellogg. Ooh. And she breaks it down so simply into 101 ways that you can very easily go zero waste in your life without even having to spend any money, really. So, and then you can check it out on the internet. Again, I just want to emphasize that do what is within your means, even if it's just a little bit. Every little bit helps. You don't have to go out and save the entire environment because that's not going to happen. As long as we have big evil corporations that are contributing to the most amount of air pollution and garbage pollution, we're never going to be able to do enough, but every little bit does count.
All right. So let's say I am on like this track of making the environment a better place. And what if I would just want to uptick this mofo? How do I become super crazy, really into the environment? Like, what does full throttle environment love look like?
I think it starts with education. You really have to just start educating yourself, whether you're using books or going on the internet. I watch a lot of YouTube videos about it. First, educate yourself on the environment. What are the problems? What are the issues? And what can I do personally in my day-to-day life? And how can I maybe inspire others to then practice the same things that I'm practicing? But also get involved on a local level. That is always important. On Cape Cod, we have so many wonderful environmental groups that are doing great work, like cutting down plastic bottles, litter. They're cutting down litter. We have the Green Road Refill, which she helps you refill all of your products, so you don't need to go out and buy. Like she's like a fill station essentially, where you can bring your own bottles and fill up on laundry detergent, dish soap, etc.
Oh, yeah, I've seen her before. She has it looks like a food truck.
Yeah. It's super great. So I think it always starts with education, because you can't do anything else until you know what the problems are and what you can do on a local level. Does that kind of answer it? And then I guess, again, find what interests you the most, whether that's making your house environmentally friendly, making your car environmentally friendly. Maybe you're going to start biking to work if you don't want to drive to work, if you can, if that's even safe. You know what I mean? Cutting down on litter is a big thing. Cutting down on plastic. Don't buy plastic anymore. Plastic water bottles. Oh my God, I just watched a whole documentary last night about how awful the water companies are. Like Nestle is just an awful company that is literally just like devastating all of these local like rivers and springs and all of that. They're just pumping all this water and like leaving these towns with no water anymore, essentially.
How's that legal? That's crazy.
They're a big evil corporation. And if I go missing after this, you know why. They came.
We all know why. Looking at you.
Right? Yeah, just find what interests you. This low waste lifestyle interests me because it was a way for me to cut down on consumerism, because I like a more minimalist lifestyle anyway. And it helped me to save money, and it helped me become sustainable, where I'm creating my own products instead of going out and buying them with all the harmful chemicals in them. And I'm trying to get rid of my own trash myself, such as like composting, and giving them to my chickens. And again, you don't have to jump in, like, don't have to be extremist about it either. It's just little tiny ways that you can shift your habits. And it's hard because as humans, we do like our convenience items. We do like to go grab a cup of coffee and drink it and then throw it out.
I use this cup every day.
Good. See, that's one of the biggest ways that we can just stop trash, period, is just not, again, we're in a pandemic, so it's hard. They no longer accept you to bring your own containers at like Starbucks, I think, right now, just because of the pandemic, but we'll get back there someday.
Yeah.
So I hope that answered your question. Just start with education. Reading and watching documentaries.
It's always a good place to start. Like, if you want to learn about something, learn about it first, and then
and learn about what interests you about it, such as saving. Maybe air pollution speaks to you more than water pollution. Maybe trash and litter speaks to you, I don't know, more than your fossil fuels. You know, it's yeah, you can't do it all, and you shouldn't do it all.
One last question, and then I want to get into today's different national holidays, which I find always interesting. So you're married.
I am married.
You and Mike have been married for
4 years.
I was going to say a year. 4 years. Congratulations.
12 years together, 4 years married. Yes. Thank you.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, 12 years. High school. I started in high school. Yeah.
Beautiful. Go Mike. So how does Mike deal with or do with your sustainability lifestyle? Is he cool with it? Is it hard for him?
It's great because last summer he came home from work and I looked him in the eyes and I said, just so you know, we're going to start doing a low waste, zero waste lifestyle.
Just so you know.
What? I was like, yep, we're going to get rid of trash in our lives. And it's like, okay. So he's been wonderful about it. I know he can hear me probably talking about it right now, but he has been really great. And, you know, I've been teaching him like, oh, we're going to do this instead of this because it cuts down on our trash. Like he's totally supportive. You know, he wants to do his part just as much as I do of creating less trash in our house and clutter and all of that. And he's been very supportive. Every time, like I was just watching water documentaries last night and he sat down and he watched them with me because he wants to be educated on the matter too. So he's been nothing but supportive. Even when we began the journey, it was crazy because I was getting rid of all this plastic in our house and I was like decluttering. I was like getting rid of everything. So I'm like, we're going to be sustainable and we're going to be minimalistic. Like, okay, sure. Yeah, I support you. So he's been wonderful. And now he knows everything that I do too, because I make sure I share it with him and he retains that knowledge. And because marriage is a team, you know, it's a team effort. So we're both on board, we're both supportive, and it's awesome.
Yeah. I guess one last thing, because I was just thinking, do you have any, I guess, advice for couples who one person wants to start to be sustainable, the other person is kind of unknowledgeable about it?
Yeah, I would think just sitting down and having conversations and really explaining like, you know, this is the reason why I want to go to be a zero waste household. Like this is important to me that we do this because it's going to better our earth and better our environment and better our pockets in the long run as well. But I think it takes a lot of sitting down and having discussions and making sure everybody understands why they're doing this, what they're doing, how you're going to do it. Having really open and honest dialogue is very important. And I can't see, like, I would hope somebody wouldn't be like, well, no, absolutely no, I'm not doing this. This is so stupid. I would hope that wouldn't happen because, you know, people are coming from a good place when they switch to this lifestyle. But I do understand some people can be really gung-ho, like, oh, it's my way or the highway. So I guess it's also compromise. Like, you know, maybe if the other person's having a hard time not buying their creamer in a plastic bottle, maybe that's just the one thing that they get to do then. It's like, okay, I'll stop buying these products in plastic, but I need to keep my creamer. This is my favorite creamer. I'm going to keep buying it, even though it's in plastic and it's hard to recycle. Like, okay, that's totally fine. You know, we're not perfect. So I think compromise is so important, and making sure you guys are both communicating like, hey, I'm doing this and this is why. Are you okay with it? No? Okay, let's sit down and talk about why you're not okay with it. So then we can be on the same page.
Nice. So don't start the conversation with, here's what we're going to do.
I did. I was like, we're starting low waste lifestyle, just so you know. I didn't even.
What we're doing now.
Hey, can we? It's like, no, we're doing it. Which wasn't the best, but thankfully my husband was on board because he's awesome and cool. So
I know your husband. He is pretty awesome.
He's pretty cool.
All right, guys. So usually what we do is, I'm so sorry I skipped this. We do poetry at the beginning of
I lost tea. I don't know. I can't hear tea. Now I'm wondering if I'm just live. I have no clue what's going on.
Okay. That was
okay. I was hoping it wasn't me. I was like, what do I do?
Okay, that was my computer's just like, your internet is unstable. I was like, don't you tell me what's unstable, man. Just fix it.
Calling me unstable.
Yeah. So I just pressed buttons like a lot. And I was just like, all right, it worked. So sorry about that, guys. What I was saying was from that one, when we have a guest, poetry is going to be in the podcast. So check out our podcast on anchor.com/coffeewithtea. There is a donate button. Please consider donating to the cause. If you can't, totally get it. Just throwing that out there. So yeah, check out the poetry in the podcast, which will be up tomorrow. And we're going to have more conversations with Tully in the podcast. So make sure you check that out too. We're going to have some other weird conversations. We don't know what it is, but you got to listen to the podcast, figure it out. So Tully, there are 3 different national holidays today, which I thought would be fun to talk about. The first one, I think you and I should really capitalize off of, which is National Transfer Money to Your Daughter Day. So that's what today is. So we should talk to our parents.
Okay, I'm calling right now.
Yeah, money. Yeah,
cool.
my daughters might call me like, listen, you know what today is?
Ooh, no clue what it is.
Yeah, today is Air 5. That's what today is.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
It's also National Plus Size Appreciation Day. You're goddamn right.
Oh, I love that. Right. Yeah. Yes. That should be like every day though to me, but I'm glad that there's a specific day for it too.
It's pretty cool. And World Cerebral Palsy Day. So consider donating to that cause because it's World Cerebral Palsy Day. So consider doing that. That's kind of all we have for you today. Thank you so much, Tully, for all of your wonderful information and for helping us understand climate change, the environment, and how we can all help a little and a lot. You're great today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on and letting me talk about the environment. I very much appreciate it. Anybody else who has any further questions, feel free to reach out to me on Facebook. I love talking about the environment so much. So I will absolutely answer anybody's questions.
Yay, balls! All right, guys. As always, thank you to our executive producer, Emily and Twizzle. There's 2 Emilys. I
love you, Emily. Emily and Twizzle.
Thank you very much, guys. Remember that hurt people, so keep an eye on your pain. Stay safe. Godspeed. And I'll see you next week. Bye, guys. We ended it.